Dear friends, this is episode number 14. We are going to deal with the subject attachment and the provisions to be dealt with now are Order 21, Rules 41 to 57. As I said, it is a vast subject. We will deal with it in 3 or 4 episodes. Now first we will deal with attachment of property 41, Rule 41. Let us say Rule 41. This is a process which is very seldom resorted to by the lawyers. If this procedure under Rule 41 is resorted to, very many execution petitions could be decided in favor of the decree holders, particularly when arrest of the judgment debtor and his detention in civil prison becomes necessary. Very many execution petitions for arrest and detention are dismissed on the ground that the decree holder failed to prove that the judgment debtor has the necessary means to pay the decree debt or sufficient part thereof to satisfy the decree. Substantial part thereof to satisfy the decree. How to prove the means is difficult, because the judgment debtor alone may be knowing which are the properties which are available to him. A person having several properties at several places, the decree holder may not know it, particularly when the decree holder is at a bank or financial institution. They may not know. It will not be disclosed by the judgment debtor. At the time of availing the loan also from the bank, he need not disclose all those things. Now it becomes difficult, but there is an easy procedure which, if resorted to, would enable the decree holders to prove the necessary ingredients for the contention of for proving the means of the judgment debtor, and thereby declining to accept the contention of the judgment debtor that he has no means to pay. Now let us see Rule 41. Where a decree is for payment of money, the decree holder may apply to the court for an order. Please note, may apply. Court cannot so moto do it. May apply to the court for an order that the judgment debtor, A, Clause A, the judgment debtor, or Clause B, where the judgment debtor is a corporation, any officer thereof, or Clause C, any other person, be orally examined as to whether any or what debts are owing to the judgment debtor, and whether the judgment debtor has any and what other property or means of satisfying the decree, and the court may make an order for the attendance and examination of such judgment debtor or officer or other person, and for production of the books, for production of any books or documents. See, the judgment debtor can be directed to be examined. Normally, a plaintiff cannot compel the defendant to give evidence. He cannot cite the defendant as a witness on his own side. Likewise, the defendant cannot cite the plaintiff as a witness on his side. Though in some places there is such a practice, in various decisions of the Kerala High Court, such practice is deprecated. That is causing an oppressive method of the opposite party. That is not permitted by the court. But here that is an exception. To prove a difficult thing, a method is adopted, can be adopted, that the opposite side namely the judgmentator, can be examined at the instance of the decree holder by filing an application. Now, Subrule 2 says that where the decrees for payment of money has remained unsatisfied for a period of 30 days, the court may again, on the application of the decree holder and without prejudice to the power under Subrule 1, by order require the judgmentator, or where the judgmentator is a corporation, any officer thereof, to make an affidavit stating the particulars of the assets of the judgmentator. So the decree holder can make an application to the court directing the judgmentator to file an affidavit disclosing what are the assets belonging to him. Particulars of the assets of the judgmentator. So when an order is passed by the court under Subrule 2, it is a duty of the judgmentator to file such affidavit. And when that affidavit is filed, it can be taken in evidence, and if he discloses, that property can be attached and sold, and if he does not disclose, that will amount to filing of a false affidavit, suppression of material facts. Then 3, in case of disobedience of any order made under Subrule 2, the court making the order or any court to which the proceeding is transferred may direct that person disobeying the order be detained in the civil prison for a term not exceeding 3 months, unless before the expiry of such term the court directs his release. So this is not a teethless order. An order passed by the executing court is very powerful. The executing court has the necessary powers to enforce the execution, to see that the decree is obeyed, to see that all the steps taken are obeyed. So this is a step which can be taken at the instance of the decree holder to enable him to prove the necessary ingredient to be satisfied for detaining a person in civil prison, detaining the judgmentator in civil prison. So the judgmentator can be directed to do certain thing. 1, to give evidence, to produce any accounts, books, and even to file an affidavit. And if he refuses, neglects, if he disobeys the order of the court, he can be detained in prison for a period not exceeding 3 months. So that is not this power sufficient to enable the decree holder to prove the necessary ingredients? And you can, the decree holder can ask that file an affidavit and also to give evidence. He files an affidavit, not disclosing all the relevant details. He can be, at the time of examination, questions can be put to him for elucidating matters, and all the relevant details to the extent possible can be collected by this process under section 51. But unfortunately, it is not being resorted to by the decree holders, mainly because their lawyers do not advise them to do so. So in execution petitions, dear friends, this method can be adopted. Court cannot suo motu do it because both these powers for examination as well as for directing the judgmentator to file an affidavit, it must be on application. Court cannot. There are certain powers which the court can exercise suo motu, but this is not a power which the court can exercise suo motu. So, dear advocates friends, please resort to this. I am told that some of the advocates are also seeing this program, and at the end of this episode, I would like to make certain corrections in episode number 12. I will do it at the end of this episode. Now, we will see 42 to onwards, 42 to 45. 42 to 45. That is movables, agricultural produce and other things, how the attachment is to be effected and how the property should be preserved and how it should be made. These items can be made use of for the purpose of realizing the decree debt. It's a very detailed procedure. We will just just go through it. So on a plain reading, there is no difficulty, it can be understood. But just refer to it. 42. Attachment in the case of a decree for rent or mean profits or other matter, amount to which subsequently determined. That is, where the decree directs an enquiry as to rent or mean profits. Mean profits is defined in section 214 or 212. 212. Mean profits. Mean profits of property means those profits which the person in wrongful possession of such property actually received or might with ordinary diligence have received therefrom, together with interest on such profits, but shall not include profits due to improvements made by the person in wrongful possession. See, a person trespasses upon my property, ousts me from possession. I file a suit for recovery of possession. I am entitled to get mean profits from him because he is in wrongful possession. And for 10 years the litigation went on. He is enjoying that property, taking the income or appropriating the rent. He must be liable, he is liable to disgorge that. The court has power to do it. Now Rule 42 says, where the decree directs an enquiry as to rent or mean profits or any other matter, the property of the judgmentator may, before the amount due from him has been ascertained, be attached, as the case may be, as the case of an ordinary decree for payment of money. So, how if a simple decree for payment of money is passed against a person? It can be enforced in several ways, by arrest and detention of the judgmentator, by attachment and sale of his property. Now, if a decree directs an enquiry as to rent or mean profits, so the decree does not provide for realization of a particular amount, that enquiry has to go on. The property of the judgmentator can be attached before the amount due from him is actually ascertained by the court. Otherwise, I am entitled to mean profits at that time. It will have the effect of a simple money decree. I got a decree for recovery of possession. I said about the example, my property has been trespassed upon. I got a decree for recovery of possession. It can be executed. I executed it, got back possession. But the decree also directs an enquiry into the mean profits, and that mean profits can be ascertained at a later point of time, and that ascertainment has to take place. How to realize that amount? As if a simple money decree has been passed in my favor. But before executing that decree, the judgmentator is about to transfer all his properties, so that the order in my favor is defeated. So that an attachment can be made of what? Of the property of the judgmentator. For realization of what amount? For realization of the rents or main profits which are likely to be determined in the proceedings which are taken. But it may take time. So this is a special procedure. Even before fixing that amount, deciding that amount, the attachment can be effected, and as if in the case of an ordinary decree for payment of money. 43. Attachment of movable property other than agricultural produce in the possession of agricultural produce, there is a separate provision. Where it is movable property other than agricultural produce, it is in the possession of the judgmentator. The attachment shall be made by actual seizure. and the attaching officer shall keep the property in his own custody or in the custody of one of his subordinates and shall be responsible for the due custody thereof. And the attaching officer has to obey the order of the court, provided that where the property seized is subject to speedy and natural decay, or where the expenses of keeping in the custody is likely to exceed its value, the attaching officer may sell it at once, for which also there is an order of the court is required. So something is to be attached. It is subject to speedy and natural decay. So the attaching officer cannot retain it. That will be damaged. Or even if it is that the items are produced before court, what to do? Even then there will be delay. By the time the value of the property will vanish. That is, it will get diminished. Therefore, even the attaching officer can be given the power to sell it at once. Attachment to be made, then sell it at once, provided that the property attached consists of livestock. That also may happen. Livestock is attached. Agricultural implements or other articles which cannot conveniently be removed, and the attaching officer does not act under the first proviso to this rule. That is, first proviso sale. He may at once, at the instance of the judgmentator or decree holder or any person claiming, leave it in the village or place where it has been attached. But certain precautions are to be taken. That is contained in clause A and B of the second proviso. Second proviso, we have seen that livestock, agricultural implements which cannot be moved easily, and all those things, where or the attaching officer also finds that immediate sale is not possible, then it can be left in the village. But there are certain conditions. Which are those conditions? The conditions are: in the charge of a person, in the charge it can be it has been attached. Leave it. He may, at the instance of the judgmentator or decree holder or any person claiming to be interested, leave it in the village or place. Then leaving it in the village, in the charge of the person at whose instance the property is retained in such village or place. If such person enters into a bond, and if it is left in the charge of the person at whose instance the property is attached, such person has to execute a bond in form number 15A of Appendix E with one or more sufficient sureties for the production when called for. So if it is left in the village, and if it is kept, directed to be kept or agreed to be kept in the charge of a person at whose instance the property is attached, and he has to execute a bond, or in the charge of an officer of the court, if a suitable place for its safe custody be provided, and the remuneration of the officer for a period of 15 days at such rate as may from time to time fixed by the court. Or it can be left in the charge of the officer of the court, provided that the necessary charges are paid. Then sub-rule 2 says, where attachment made under the provisions of this rule ceases for any of the reasons specified in rules 55 to 57 or rule 55 or 57 or rule 60, the court may order restitution of the attached property. That those rules we will deal with later. If the attachment ceases, then the property shall be restored to the person from whose possession it has been taken. Then sub-rule 3 deals with where the attached property is kept in the village or place where it is attached. The attaching officer shall forthwith report that fact to the court, and shall with his report forward a list of properties seized. So that the court must have the necessary details of the items which have been attached. Sub-rule 4, procedure when attached property is neither sold nor kept in the village or place where it is attached. It shall be brought to the courthouse and delivered to the proper officer of the court. Then 5, where attached property is kept in the village is livestock. same village it is kept, where it is a livestock. The person at whose instance it is so retained shall provide for its maintenance. For livestock, expenses are required for maintenance of the same. Who will pay? The person at whose instance it has been attached. And if he fails to do so, and if it is in the charge of officer of the court, it shall be removed to the courthouse. Then the court will pass appropriate orders. But nothing in this rule shall prevent the judgmentator or person claiming to be interested in such livestock from making such arrangements for feeding the same. Livestock belongs to him. All these Sarkar activities may not sometimes be sufficient for the proper protection of the livestock. So judgmentator is not prevented from feeding them, making arrangements for feeding the same. So the livestock which is in the custody of the officer of the court, he may not be so interested. See, something may happen to the livestock. So what is to be done? The judgmentator whose property it is, he is interested in maintaining it, because nowadays in livestock it is very costly, particularly certain items like Vechur Pashu or Kasargod Kullan or other items, very costly. Certain bullocks are also very costly. So it is up to the interest of the judgmentator that such things are protected and he can feed them. Then what is the direction for sums expended by the attaching officer? The attaching officer has to spend amounts. If it is not duly deposited in court or paid, be recovered from the proceeds of the property, if sold, or to be paid by the person declared entitled to delivery before he receives the same. The court may also order that any sums deposited or paid under this rule be recovered as cost of attachment from any party to the proceeding. All the necessary arrangements can be made by the court for the protection and preservation of the property, for the livestock, or for protection of the livestock. And even the judgmentator is given the liberty to feed the livestock, that is to preserve the property. Then 43A, custody of movable property. And where the attached property consists of livestock, agricultural implements or other articles which cannot be conveniently removed, and the attaching officer does not act under the proviso to Rule 43, which we have considered earlier, he may, at the instance of the judgmentator or of the decree holder or any other person claiming to be interested in such property, leave it in the village or place where it has been attached, in the custody of a respectable person, hereinafter referred to as the custodian. So instead of the procedure which is mentioned in 43, the articles, the livestock, agricultural implements or other articles can be kept at the custody of a respectable person of the village, who is called custodian. Sorry. The custodian fails to produce such property on notice at the place stated by the court, named by the court, before the officer deputed for the purpose, or to restore it to the person in whose favor restoration is ordered, or if the property though so produced or restored is not in the same condition as it was when it was entrusted to him, in such case what should be done? So it is put in the custody of a custodian. He does not produce it in court at the time when the court directs. Or it is not in the same condition, something happened to it, livestock. See, their health is affected. See, diminishing the value thereby. And then what? The custodian be liable to pay the compensation to the decree holder, the judgmentator, or any other person who is found entitled to restoration thereof, or for loss or damage caused by his default. The custodian will be liable. Such liability may be enforced at the instance of the decree holder, as if the custodian were a surety under Section 145. Section 145 is enforcement of liability of surety. That is provided, the method is provided. So that custodian will be liable. He will be liable for such compensation for the which shall be fixed by the court, and for the loss or damage caused due to his default, and it can be enforced as if the custodian is a surety under Section 145. Then, or such liability may be enforced, 1. At the instance of the decree holder, as if the custodian were a surety. At the instance of the judgmentator or such other person on an application in execution. 2 methods. If at the instance of the decree holder, it is as if custodian is a surety. If it is at the instance of judgmentator or other person on an application in execution. 3 types of persons are mentioned in this rule. That is the decree holder, judgmentator, or other person interested. If it is a decree holder, he can straight away resort to the proceedings under 145 of the CPC. Or if it is a judgmentator or other person, they can apply in execution for realization of that amount. Any order determining such liability shall be appealable as a decree. What is this? Any order determining such liability shall be appealable as a decree. What is the meaning of it? This is an order, not a decree. We have seen the difference between a decree and order. And if it is a decree, it is appealable. Section 96 provides for. If it is an order, it is appealable only if it comes under Section 104, read with Order 43, Rule 1. Only those orders are appealable, no other order. So this is an order which does not find a place in Section 104 or in Order 43, Rule 1. Then the order has to be challenged by the aggrieved person. What to do? He has to file a revision. Revision may not lie after the amendment of Section 105. Then he has to file, original petition, civil, before the High Court. But a provision is made. Such the order determining the liability, whose liability? Custodian. Custodian is not a party to the proceeding. He is a stranger. Custodian's liability is decided for the first time in this proceeding. He is quite a third party. His rights or liabilities are being determined. Here, his liability is being determined. Then, if it is an order which is not appealable, as I said, under Section 104 or read with Order 43, Rule 1, if he is a party to the proceeding, he can challenge that order in certain circumstances in an appeal filed against the decree. Though it is not appealable as an order, that order can be subject to exception, subject to certain circumstances. It can be challenged in the appeal against the decree. But here there is this custodian cannot do so because he is not a party. He cannot file an appeal against the decree. He cannot as such challenge that order in an appeal preferred by some of the parties or by cross objection, whatever it is. He cannot. So thereby a fiction is created. The order determining such liability where the custodian, who is not a party to the proceeding, is affected, he can challenge it as if the order is a decree. As if the order is decree. the order shall be deemed to be a decree. If it is so, section 96 of the CPC will automatically come into play and an appeal can be filed as if it is a decree. But the nomenclature will be different, not as appeal suit as in the case of a decree, some other nomenclature